Dear members of the press, welcome to this end of year press briefing, where the Commission is going to share some important updates to the country as the year closes and as we start the new year tomorrow. Besides me is Ms. Hope Nyamwiza, for the benefit of the people that understand sign language. Hope you're welcome. Before we start, I'll request my friend here to come and lead us in an opening prayer. You introduce yourself and then you pray for us. Or lead us.
Good morning, colleagues. I'm Ibrahim Kavma from Daily Monitor. We're going to just have a prayer. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-siratal mustaqim. As-siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim wa amta 'alaihim ghayril maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin.
Clap for Ibrahim. Clap for Ibrahim, our friend, for leading us in that prayer. Dear members of the press, before you is the commission, members of the commission. There is, I want to introduce them before we start so that you know who is here. From left, that is left, or you are right, is Commissioner Peter Emorut. Commissioner Peter Emorut is there. Commissioner Dr. Simba Kayunga. The chairperson of the commission, Justice Byabakama Mugenyi Simon. Next to him is Deputy Chairperson of the Commission, Hajat Aisha Rubega. And next to her is Commissioner Caroline Binamario. There are some other commissioners that are not here who are also engaged in some other important activities of the Commission and of the country. Lord Chair, I would like to take this opportunity to invite you to speak to the country through the members of the press that are here as we end 2025 and prepare for 2026. Lord Chair, you're welcome. My name is Julius Muchunguzi, as you know.
Thank you, Julius, and our friends, members of the press and media houses. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome, what? Yes, that's good. Our dear esteemed members of the press, I'm pleased to welcome you to the Electoral Commission headquarters on this 31st day of December 2025, which is the last day of the year. We want to thank God who has brought us this far from January 1st of this year to this very day when we mark the close of 2025. Today, the Commission will give an update on the progress of our preparations for the 2026 general elections and guide the country on the expected conduct by all stakeholders as we enter into the new year and the final lap of the general elections roadmap. First, we wish to express our deep gratitude for the support by the various stakeholders which has brought us this far in the implementation of the roadmap for the general elections. We wish to appreciate the government of Uganda for providing funding towards the activities executed. We also appreciate the support of Parliament in allocating the required funds and also the enabling legal framework within which we are operating. The Commission further appreciates all political parties and organizations which supported the mobilization of the electorate to participate in the activities we have undertaken this year. These include the update of the National Voters Register, the display of the said register, nomination of candidates, and the ongoing campaigns. We wish to further appreciate the media for offering the medium through which we disseminate electoral information and voter education. The role of civil society and religious institutions, traditional institutions, and the business community has been pivotal in getting us to this point in the electoral roadmap as well. The Commission also extends appreciation to the security agencies for ensuring an enabling environment where electoral activities can be and have been conducted. The Commission has also noted a growing practice of sharing particulars of individuals who are deemed to be wrongly included in the voters register. The Commission wishes to guide that any complaint about the content of the voters register should be directly addressed to the Commission through its established offices to avoid causing alarm by sharing unfounded and unverified information, which could constitute misinformation, disinformation, and fake news. Further, in compliance with the data protection and privacy laws, we urge any concerned person not to publish the photographs or personal details of any alleged questionable voters. We advise all stakeholders to refrain from sharing individuals' personal voter information on social media without his or her consent, as this violates private laws. The Commission also wishes to inform the country that we started receiving consignments of ballot papers and the declaration of results forms for the general elections. These were received from the contracted security printers abroad to ensure readiness for polling. To date, the following categories of ballot papers have been received and are currently in our warehouses: presidential ballot papers, directly elected member of parliament ballot papers, and district woman representative to parliament ballot papers. The receipt of the above election materials was witnessed by representatives of presidential candidates and political parties, those who bothered to turn up, as well as members of the media and the accredited election observers. Further, the Commission has completed the packing of generic materials and commenced on the non-generic materials. The generic materials include the following items: pens, strings, stamp pads, polythene sheets, rubber bands, ink pads, election forms, report forms, oath forms, official report books, aprons, tamper-proof evident envelopes, indelible mark pens, etc., etc. The dispatch of the transparent ballot boxes, the cordoning tapes, the basins, and solar lamps has already commenced to all the districts or cities. The Commission has also commenced packing of the National Voters Register and the ballot papers for each respective polling station before dispatch for polling day for presidential and parliamentary elections. Public warning. The Electoral Commission has become aware of a website operating under the name www.registry.ugtally.com reportedly operated by an entity known as Fanon. The website is being promoted as a platform to assist members of the public in locating their voter registration details and polling stations. While Fanon has publicly stated that it is not affiliated with the Electoral Commission or any political party, and claims its role is purely civic, that is, promote voter participation and support a free and fair electoral process, the Electoral Commission wishes to categorically inform the public that that website is not authorized and is not affiliated with the Electoral Commission. Further, Fanon has never applied nor accredited as a voter education civil society organization. In addition, the role of setting up systems that enable voters to digitally locate and ascertain their voting location lies with the Electoral Commission and not any other entity or individual. The public is, therefore, hereby strongly cautioned that the said unauthorized website may contain misleading or inaccurate information and may pose risks to users who interact with it. Members of the public are advised not to visit that website, but submit personal information or engage with its services. The Electoral Commission shall not be held responsible for how any information submitted to or accessed through the said website is used. The Electoral Commission, as we all know, is established under Article 6 of the 1995 Constitution of the Republic of Uganda and is mandated under Article 61 to compile, maintain, revise, and update the National Voters Register. The mandate, as you can see, is exclusive to the Electoral Commission and is not shared by any individual. Therefore, any unauthorized access, hosting, use, or purported distribution of voter registration data constitutes an offense and is punishable under the law. Members of the public are strongly urged and encouraged to use only the official and authorized Electoral Commission website, that is www.ec.or.ug/register, to verify their voter registration particulars and polling station information. This warning is issued in the public interest to protect citizens and prevent confusion, misuse of personal data, or other potential harm. The Electoral Commission has formally written to the Uganda Communications Commission seeking guidance on the appropriate action to be taken in respect of this matter. Issuance of copies of the Voters Register. In accordance with Section 19 of the Electoral Commission Act, the Commission will issue a hard copy of the photo bearing National Voters Register to each of the candidates contesting in the 2026 presidential elections. The National Voters Register bears the names of all the 21,681,491 registered voters, arranged alphabetically by surname at each of the 50,739 polling stations in the country. The purpose of issuing this voters register is to enable the candidates, through their official agents, to ensure that only eligible persons are allowed to vote on polling day, and only at the polling station where they are registered as voters. Secondly, the issuance of the register will help to keep the candidates and other stakeholders, including the electorate, updated on the status of registered voters and their voting locations. Please note that the Electoral Commission already issued soft copies of the National Voters Register to the presidential candidates as provided for in Section 19 of the Electoral Commission Act. This issuance should therefore put to rest any concerns among stakeholders about the readiness of the National Voters Register for the 2026 general elections. The Electoral Commission urges all candidates to mobilize their supporters who are registered voters to prepare to vote on polling day. The Commission has already clarified that this register, which bears the photographs of the voters, shall be the basis for voting during the 2026 general elections. Therefore, all those persons whose particulars and photographs appear on the voters' register shall be eligible to vote at the polling station where they are registered, whether they have a national ID or not. Constituency voters' registers are also available for other political parties or candidates on application through the Secretary, Electoral Commission, and on payment of the relevant fee. In conclusion, as the country enters the final weeks of the campaign period, the Commission appeals to all candidates, political parties, agents, and supporters to follow the law and the guidelines issued by the Electoral Commission regarding the manner, mode, and location of campaigns by the various candidates. And we also ask them to exercise restraint, and uphold the peace, tolerance, and respect for the rule of law. Peaceful conduct before, during, and after polling is essential for credible elections and national stability. The Electoral Commission assures the public of its unwavering commitment to deliver free, fair, credible, and transparent elections in accordance with the Constitution and the laws of Uganda. We urge candidates at all levels to prevail upon their supporters and agents to desist from any actions that may lead to disruption of public order and to always use peaceful means to express their views. We further call for a tolerant approach to political debate, use civil language, so that we have peaceful, free, and fair elections. The other matter maybe I should highlight that is ongoing is the issuance of the voter location slips. As we addressed the country last time, this process is ongoing and is supposed or is expected to be concluded around 13th of January. We want to urge the public, those who have not yet secured or obtained their voter location slips, to do so. And I emphasize, these slips are for the good of the voters. So that in the new year, fellow citizens, the Commission extends its best wishes to all Ugandans and calls upon every citizen to play their part in ensuring a peaceful and successful electoral process. I say all this for God and my country. Happy New Year to you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lord Chairperson of the Electoral Commission. As the Chair was giving the statement, the Commission became a full complement with all the other members that had not arrived, who were doing other work outside the building. And I would like to recognize the presence of Commissioner Honorable Anthony Okero and Commissioner Honorable Stephen Tashobia. So as you see now, the commission, what we call the commission, what is the commission in the law, is now complete here before you. Lord Chair, there is a public demand that you summarize in Luganda before you take questions, so that they also, there are some who don't know what was being said, who understand Luganda. No, the ones who are following, the people who are following online. So that at that point you'll be able to take questions both in Luganda and in English, and the people who are following in Luganda will also know what the chairperson and the commission is saying on this very important day with this important message. Thank you, sir.
Basebo ne bannyabo tubaaniriza ku offices zaffe wano ku 7th Street. Olukungaana luno twaluyise okusobola okutegeeza Abannayuganda wawe tutuuse mu nteekateeka y'okulonda kwa 2026. Nga bwe tuzze tulambika, kusooka twagala kwebaza abo bonna abawagidde emirimu gy'akakiiko ke by'okulonda nga bagondera biki byetugamba birina okukolebwa ate nga babikolera mu budde nga basinziira mu mateeka. Twagala n'okwebaza gavumenti ya Uganda yetuwadde ssente zonna ze twetaaga okukozesa oba okutambuza emirimu gino gy'okulonda. Twagala okwebaza n'ebibiina by'obufuzi ebyanakyewa ebikoledde wamu n'akakiiko okulaba nti ebyo twakakola byonna bituukirizibwa, naddala okutereeza enkalala z'abalonzi oba regisita, ozitimba eri abantu, no okusunsulwamu okw'esimbi oba nominations na campaigns kati zigenda mu maaso. Twagala kubeebaza n'abamawulire, mwe muzindaalo gwaffe, mwe eddoboozi lyaffe tuyisiza bye tugamba ne mutegeeza Bannayuganda biki ebigenda mu maaso. Twagala kwebaza n'ebitongole by'okwerinda abakoze kyonna ekisoboka okulaba nti embeera eri mu ggwanga ya mirembe ate ng'ezisobozesa ebyokulonda okutambula bulungi. Twagala kwebaza n'aba staff ba Electoral Commission, bakoledde ddala omulimu munene era kati bakyakola, era basinga obungi tebaalinda mu Christmas, baali mu maofiisi oba mu bifo by'enjawulo nga bagezaako kulaba nti ebintu bikolebwa mu budde. Naye twagala okutegeeza Bannayuganda we tuyimiridde we twogerera kati. Twakamaliriza okuwandiisa abagenda kukola ku lunaku lw'okulonda ku polling station zonna z'eggwanga. Tubayigiriza oba tubadde tubalaga, tubayigiriza biki bye balina okukola ku lunaku olwo lwennyini okulaba nti akalulu kajja kubeera k'amazima n'obwenkanya. Abo bonna baagala okuba nti ba observers mu kulonda kuno, oba bavudde bweru we Uganda oba bali munda mu Uganda, n'ogwo omulimu tugutambuza era abantu bange bakatuwandiikira nga balaga nti baagala tubawe permission oba accreditation okujja okubeera mu kulonda kuno. Nga bwe tubadde tutegeeza eggwanga, okuviira ddala mwezi gw'omwenda, commission ebadde ewulira emisango oba okwemulugunya okuva mu bitundu bitali mu by'eggwanga ebyava mu kusunsulamu kw'aba abeesimbyewo. Ensonga zino notwogera kati nnyingi ze tumaze okusala, naye waliwo n'abamu kati batugenda okuwulira bwe tuva wano. Okwemulugunya kukyagenda mu maaso. Bikwata ku ebiseera bya campaign, campaign zigenda mu maaso ku beesimbyewo ku kifuuki bwa president, ba members of parliament na government z'ebitundu. Twagala okukubiriza abo bonna abeenyigidde mu campaigns nti mugondere amateeka, mugondere biki akakiiko kebyeteekawo kitwateekawo ebino okugobererwa nga muli mu campaigns oba mutambuza campaigns zammwe. Njagala okukakasa nti etteeka erikwata ku nkozesa ya kuuma tulirina minisita yamaze oliteekako mukono, yalitaddeko mukono ng'ennaku 24 omwezi guno gwe 12, kati liriteeka akuuma kano engeri gyagenda kukozesebwa okuviira ddala ku eddaala erisooka, eryokubiri, eryokusatu mpaka kutuuka kubala bululu kiri mu mateeka, era tulina nja kuba tuli bategeeza. Akuuma kagenda kukozesebwa, njagala kikakasa oba kikattiriza nti akuuma ke kagenda okukozesebwa ku buli polling station okukakasa nti ddala gundi mulonzi mutuufu wano ku polling station walondera. Naye waliwo ebituusanze ate ebitatusanyusiza. Waliwo guno mukutu gwateekebwa baguyita gwa fanoni. Bagamba nti bataddeko mukutu ogusobozesa buli munnayuganda okumanya oba okutegeera alondera mu kifo ki n'ebirala. Naffe tugamba nti omukutu ogwo teguliiwo mu mateeka ffe mu kulabukwa, kubanga obuyinza obusobozi oba omulimo ogukwata ku okutereeza enkala z'abalonzi oba National Voters Register, okutegeeza abantu nti regista yiino olondera kifo kino, obwo buyinza bwa kakiiko k'ebyokulonda nkutusinzira mu ssemateeka. Teri muntu mulala yenna oba kitongole kyonna ekiwereddwa obuyinza ogamba nti mujje tubalage we mugenda okulondera. Obuyinza obwo bwa kakiiko ebyokulonda. Era twamaze okuwandikira Uganda Communications Commission nga tubategeeza nti kino ekitongole oba kibiina kino oba kiki fanoni abagamba nti bakola omulimu gwa kakiiko ate ffe nga tetubamanyi, mukitunuuliremu mukozesa amateeka okulaba nti bye bakola bitu. Kubanga bayinza obaweereza information etali ntuufu ne bakyankalanya ensi. Bayinza ogamba nti kakati ekifo kino abalonzi bonna babajjeewo so nga te si kituufu. Byonna bikwata ku register mubuuza kakiiko k'ebyokulonda. Era naffe twateekako mukutu bwe musobola okutegeerera nti tulondera wano. Nga bwe twategeeza eggwanga ntwitumba amawulire, twakafunako obululu okuva ebweru bwe baabukubira oba abeesimbyeyo ku kifo ky'obwa president, abeesimbyeyo ku bwa member of parliament constituency, na abeesimbyeyo ku kiikirira abakyala mu parliament. Twabayita b'amawulire ku kisaawe ky'Ennyonyi Entebbe, era ne mulaba obululu obwo bwe baali butuusiddwa. Kati tubuyina era tuli mu nteekateeka y'okulaba nti tubuteeka mu bokisi busobole okutambuzibwa ogenda mu districts okulonda tekunatuuka. Era twatandise n'okulaba nti ebintu ebirala byetaagisibwa nabyo tubiteekateeka bitambulire wamu n'obululu buno. Yes, ebikwata ku register ng'amateeka bwe gatulagira, twatandise tugenda kuwa ba presidential candidates register y'eggwanga lyonna ng'erimu ebifaananyi by'abalonzi, amannya n'ebirala bibakwatako, basobole okwetegekera okulonda kwa 26 ng'ennaku 15 omwezi guno gwa January. Baweereze ba agents baabwe buli polling station bamuwere kopi ya register ekwata ku balonzi ba polling station eyo. Kisobosese ba agents okukakasa nti ddala omulonzi ono azze wano mu register, mwali mu register ya polling station eno oba nedda. Nga bwe twategeeza eggwanga register yaffe kati tuwezezza abalonzi obukadde 21 n'emitwalo 68,191 be balonzi bali ku register ate abo ne tubasaasaanya mu polling stations emitwalo 5,739 mu ggwanga lyonna. Nolwekyo register eno twatandise tugenda register eno nga bwe ngambye tuli mu kaweefube ba president candidates. Ekyagenda mu maaso kwe kugaba obukonge ninga voter allocation slips zinaasobosesa abalonzi okumanya wawe bagenda kulonda olwennyini baleme kwetoolola nga bagenda wali n'eri nedda. Ate akakonge ako kagenda kweyambisibwa wangu tutaddeko kibayita barcode oba akantu akasobola okumanyirirwa akuuma kali kagenda kubeera ku polling station nekisobosa okuwanguya omulimu gw'okumanyira oba okakasa. Ate bikwata akuuma kola teri mulonzi agenda kuweebwa akalulu nga tamaze okukakasibwa mukuuma nti mulonzi ddala ng'akoze kimu kumwana nga bakuba gundi kifaananyi kyekyenyi oba feesi. Nga tumaliriza tukubiriza abonna abenyigidde mu campaigns mugondere amateeka, mugondere akakiiko kibagambye kituyise guidelines zikwata ku ngeri gye mulina okukola mu campaign zammwe. Bivolo mu makubo mutataaganya emirimu gy'Abannayuganda bala gye bakola oli mu campaigns oba tubakubiriza mukuume emirembe, mukuume obuntubulamu, ate twagale eggwanga lyaffe tuleme kuliteeka ku bunkenke lw'okuba nti tuli mu campaigns. Ffe nga kakiiko tweyamye era twewaddeyo okulaba nti tukola kyonna ekisoboka nga kitwetaagisa okusinziira mu mateeka akalulu kano kabeere k'amazima n'obwenkanya ate nga k'emirembe. Tusaba abo bonna beesimbyewo okwewala okukola ebikolwa okuteekako embeera oba ebikolwa ebinaaleetawo okweraliikirira oba akacyankalano mu ggwanga lyaffe. Ate tubasaba temukozesa olulimi olukyamu, olulimi olwawula amawanga, olulimi olukuma abantu omuliro, olulimi oluleetera abantu kweraliikirira, okuvuma candidate muno. Ebyo byonna mu byewale akalulu kaffe kasobole okubeera nti buli omu akeeyagaliza. Nga tuyingira omwaka omupya, njagala kwebaza Abannayuganda bonna ababadde wamu n'akakiiko k'ebyokulonda omwaka guno, era mujjukire nti katusigazaayo wiikisi nga 2 n'ennaku nga 1 okumaliriza kye twatandika nga tutandika phase 1 oba okulonda okusooka kwa president, members of parliament ng'ennaku 15. Mbaagaliza mwenna omwaka omupya ogw'emirembe n'emikisa gya Mukama. Mwebalire ddala. Let me first say this in English. Concerning the use of biometric voter verification are here. Document number 98 of 2025, signed or made by the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, as authorized under the law. It contains essentially what is how this machine is going to be used or applied at a polling station, at every polling station. Kiraga emitendera, ekiragiro kino kiraga emitendera oba stages ezinogobererwa ku polling station nga kuuma kano kakozesebwa. Ekisooka, omulonzi bw'atuuka ku polling station ng'alina endagamuntu oba kakonge akakonge ako nenaga muntu kaliko gundi ngeri ebyuma bya kalimagezi akuuma kali kasobola kumanyiira voter question slip ebikwata ku mulonzi ne bivaayo olwo ne bikikakasidwa nti mulonzi wano. Ekyokubiri ekyo kimala kakasibwa nti ddala oli mulonzi polling station eyo kati operator ngamba teeka ekinkumu kukuuma ako bw'obeera ddala yegwe kennyini ng'ekinkumu kyo kiraga bulungi era kyo akuuma kagenda kakasa nti yeeyo mwami gundi oba mulonzi gundi yazze wano. Ekyokusatu ng'omaze kakasidwa nti gwe mulonzi wennyini, presiding officer agenda kujjayo akalulu oba ballot paper oba ballot papers kubanga kati olunaku 15 obupapula bugenda kubeera busatu, ballot papers genda kubeera 3, president ne mu parliament mukiikize w'abakyala. Obupapula banda bokukwasa bulina okusooka okukakasibwa kooma kano bagenda okuyisaako kibayita mu luzungu ne bakuwa omulonzi n'ogenda wali mu besini yaffe n'otiikinga oba n'oteekako ekinkumu n'oleka obuteeka mu box ya president kagenda bwa president, mukiikize w'abakyala box ya bakyala, constituency member of parliament box ya constituency, then n'otambula n'ogenda ndi bakuteeka obwino obukyala kulaga ekiseera kinaatuuka ekyokubala genda ku babuwansi ku kive naye nga tebanabbu presiding officer ne banne bajase nti obupapula buno bwe tugenda okubala butuufu obubadde mu box butuufu bajja kujjamu babukakase kukuuma kano oba busikaninge ako konna kapapula oba ballot paper etakakasiddwa kuuma kano tugenda kugiza ku bbali obugenda kubalibwa obu bwokka obunaakakasiddwa akuuma kano. Those are the only ballot papers that are going to be counted, those which have been confirmed or verified by the biometric. Any ballot paper which might having gone through the first stage of scanning before giving to the voter will not escape this scrutiny before counting. So that's what I want to clarify. So Iteka Tulina, the law is here, and we are going to follow that law strictly. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lord Chair. We shall now take questions. You come here. You can line up there. Not for voting, but just line up. You say your name and the media house so that they see who is asking.
Okay. I hope the microphone can work very well. My name is Raymond Tamale, and I work with NTV. I have a number of questions, not one, not two. Let us speak about disqualification that has been going on for the different candidates, which seems to be, not from me, but from other parties, seem to be biased. Why am I saying this? Is because the disqualification that is going on, other parties say, is only in the favor of the ruling party, NRM. On that, do you feel like, because we've seen people from NUP, people from FDC saying that the disqualification that is going on is painting a picture, even the person from NRM in question is Sechikubo, who said that with the disqualification going on from different candidates, they don't feel like the Electoral Commission will deliver a free and fair election. And then, how many people have been disqualified? Yes, you say that the Commission is still doing its work, but so far, how many people have been disqualified, and how many have been declared unopposed? On polling day 15th next month, the CDF came and said people should vote and go back home. The Attorney General came out in Parliament and said you should stay 20 meters away from the polling area. As Electoral Commission, what's your stand on this? And also, what's the picture that you have as Justice Byabakama on polling day? As you're standing here, how is it going to be? Paint us a picture for us. And then, in regards to elections, do you feel like there's been enough sensitization in regards to Electoral Commission for people to understand that the voting is going to take place? Why am I saying this? Is because people have punched holes this time around in voter education from the Electoral Commission, which is not compared to 2021 as it was. Last year, I was around, and I remember Bukenya was outside. There were trucks that are having flyers and banners. This time around, it seems like this has not been done. Speaking about biometrics, that's my last question. Hypothetically speaking, on the voting day, if the machine fails to work, what remedy do you have? Because remember, the voting ends at 4 p.m. What remedy have you put in place as Electoral Commission to ensure that the voting goes on besides the machines being down? Thank you so much.
Raymond, you are the exception because you asked the first questions, but the rest will not be making long statements and treaties. Please.
Okay, thank you. My name is Hussein Samuel. I work with the Daily Monitor. My question is about the Electoral Commission adoption and manner of use of biometric voter verification system regulations 2025 by the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. From the best of my knowledge, the Minister says he made this regulation in accordance to the Electoral Commission Act. And the Section 12 of Subsection 1 of the Electoral Commission Act, if I read very well, it says that the Commission may, while doing its duties, apply the use of technology. May, they didn't say shall. We spoke to a number of MPs from opposition and NRM. They told us this act has never been amended to make it mandatory for EC to use this technology. So a minister coming up 2 weeks to the polls and bring a regulation basing on this act, we are wondering, is the EC conniving with the minister to impose an illegal law on Ugandans? Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Natty Drade from PhotoSource News Agents, /Explore Africa magazine. My question is PhotoSource News Agents, /Explore Africa magazine. My question is, who is eligible voter? In case someone has lost his ID before the voting day, and is he allowed to vote? In case if he has his nil number, is he eligible? Thank you.
Good morning. I am Aloysius Byamukama. I'm from Mama FM. In your statements, you praised the government for giving you all the monies. Maybe you may need to remind us how much did you request? How much have you been given? Maybe, and how have you used it? Then, you have been telling us or warning candidates how they should use, how they should behave in these campaigns. And one of the most things you said, they shouldn't block roads. And one of the candidates for NRM, that is Yoweri Museveni, has been seen actually seated in the road, or on the road. I don't know the correct language I should use there. So what do you say? Actually, all the campaigns belonging to that group, they are using the road the way they want and therefore sabotaging the traffic. So what is your say around there? Then this is just a by the way. We have been facing a problem here to get your voice when you are speaking. Part of the money, did you use it to buy these machines we have here? If so, are they of a good quality? Because your voice was breaking.
My name is Felix Cheyone, working with Sunrise newspaper. If you allow me to ask my Sunrise newspaper, Allow me to ask you, my question is in Luganda, because ordinary people out there, they are in dilemma. Mkulu chairman, twali wano Madam Deputy n'atukkiriza okukozesa obuuma buno tulabe bwe bukola. Mu process yonna ey'okubukozesa ne tukizuula nti omuntu wa bulijjo ali eri ewaffe Kalungu singa taatwala buvunaanyizibwa kulaba nga basikaaninga obululu bwobwo obusatu nga babusikaaninga point obetegereka bulungi nga babusikaaninga nti mu process ey'okumala okulonda bugenda kubeera mu bayita invalid naye mubadde nga musomesa buno obululu nga bugenda okubeera mashini bwe zinaakola ensonga y'okusikaaninga balitaninga office abamu baludde mu bifo ebyo myaka 5 ng'omanyi n'endowooza ez'ebyobufuzi ayinza okumanya nti egyo emyaka gironda gundi n'asalawo deliberately nti akakuunyuula n'abukuwa by end of exercise ne bubeera nga batuuka okubala tebubakola ki tebubalibwa mu bululu obukwakoze ki obwabaddewo mu kitabo mwali babukuunyudde ne babumuwa naye process temumanyi. Ekyo ekibuuzo kimu kyekiyinza okukolebwa waliwo etteeka nti nsobola omuwaabira kuba bwe mba nazze n'embeerawo nennonda munoŋŋamba nti abalonzi abadde 3 gundi eyafunyeeko 2.5 eyinza okuba omuntu wa bulijjo alowooza nti awo walibaawo akazannyo awo wakati awo mu kusikaaninga awo mu kusikaaninga awo omuntu w'omudisqualifying ogamba nti ono yabaddewo naye lwaki obuvunaanyizibwa muwadde omuntu wa bulijjo mbuye atunule nga basikaaninga jjajjaawo weeri eri mu kyalo mbw atwale obuvunaanyizibwa alabe nga basikaaninga akalulu ke. Eyo point nkulu kuba after 15th byemu kubuuza ebigenda okubeera mu bantu nti nalonda naye saabitegeera. Ekibuuzo ekyokubiri Mr. Lord Chair, bw'otunula mu history wa Electoral Commission yatandika mu 1958 nti ne bajja nga balonda naye waliwo ekizibu kimu ekitayogerwako mu Electoral Commission kuba wano wavaayo n'ogamba abantu ba killages tebaddamu kukkiriza fundraising during what elections. Naye tuyina emikwano eŋŋanda mu bitongole ebyokwerinda bikugamba nti bagenda omuwa assignment agenda akola omulimu ABCD baba mulaalise transfer ne promotion. Ebyo tebyogerwako buli bw'oyimirira wano abantu mubeere bakkakkamu naye amagye ne poliisi ennyaniza gye yanizaamu okulonda si yennyaniza y'omuntu wa bulijjo bo batunuulira transfer promotion. So point embaisaaga gyanduliza nnyo okuba abapoliisi bakola byebakola nga bamanyi nti bonaakaana okukola mukama wo kyakuwadde head of unit bakutwala Kabeera Mayido teri ayagalayo bakutwala Ssese teri ayagalayo. So baagala mu bitundu nti nze nkomandinga area eno bandabye nga nkuba abakibiina gundi. So ensonga eyo y'okuba nti n'ab'ebyokwerinda obuulira bannaddiini nti mukomye kino n'ab'okwerinda bakulinze obugambe ku unit command oba ne chief of command gundi chief omukulu w'amagye omugambe nti wategedde eyo area yiyo weebale nnyo.
Thank you very much. Justice Chair, I'm called Dennis Kat. I work with Beg Media Online. Mine is simple. I wanted to know, what does the law say about the candidates who campaign using the national flag? I'm asking this because I've seen these debates about NUP candidates using the national flag. It's not allowed, and as a lawyer, maybe you can guide us on that. Thank you.
Nayanza nnyo chairman. Amanya nze mwesigwa David nga nkola ne Galaxy TV. Waliwo ensonga y'obukonge. Ng'obukonge engaba gye babugabamu waliwo ng'amawulire nalwe nga babugabira mu owa RDC. Kituufu si kituufu. Kyandibadde nga babugabira wa RDC. Ekyo kimu. Ekyokubiri, obukonge bwona bw'obwokka tebumala. Otuuka w'olondera ogenda okutuuka nga tebuliyo ne bagamba agenda mu kitundu ekyala kye n'ekitundu ekyala kye bakusindiseemu ogenda okutuuka nga tebuliyo kitegeeza nti weekanga ng'olondera Kampala akakonge ko ne kakulagira nti olina okulondera Wakiso. Ekintu ekyo kyogerako ki?
Shamshad Nalujja Bukedde TV. Ekibuuzo kyange ensonga ya disqualification isi bw'eva nerangira nti abagala okwesimbawo muleeta ebisaanyizo byabwe, nsuubira baleeta ebisaanyizo byabwe byonna isi n'ebiyitamu ne verifyinga ne maa ne banominatinga naye ate mu zino ennaku zino disqualification yesuuse kumpi buli kanaku wabeerawo gwe badisqualifyinza obuzibu bwaki isi teyetegereza mu kusooka kikimutulambule ku nsonga eyo.
Thank you, Lord Chair and the Commission. My name is Ramson Mihire. I work with NBS TV. You said you are issuing registers to candidates. When are you doing that? How many are you issuing to each candidate? You said the register shall be the basis for voting on that day. Those are your own words. We have a register being a basis. We have a machine being a basis. We also have a voter slip. Looks like the confusion is a lot. Then there is also a national ID. We're talking about a register, BVVK machine, national ID, voter slip. You're confusing Ugandans. Can I come without a national ID, without a voter slip, and I come as I am? And I'm verified by the machine and I vote. Can you clarify what is the importance of a register on that day, a voter slip, and the machine? About petitions, from when you started, you have been receiving petitions. Up now, you are receiving petitions. You just said that yourself. You have made rulings. Rulings have been challenged. Some have been described as controversial. Do you find this as the most challenging election you have organized as the Commission, given the things that you have faced, petitions, abuses, the security issues out there? Do you find this as the most challenging election that you have organized? Voting to go home, voting to protect the vote. The law talks about 20 meters. The Commission has told people, vote and go home. The CDF has told people, vote and go home. The law tells people, vote and stand 20 meters. As the Electoral Commission, from what law do you draw that statement of vote and go home? And in your own words, would you say that it is illegal? Would the person be doing a wrong thing for them to vote and stand 20 meters if they choose? Thank you, Chair.
Ekibuuzo kye bamaze okubuuza tokiddamu, buuza ekikyo, togamba nti nga gundi bw'ayogedde. If a question has been asked, don't repeat it to say that as they have said already.
Sawya Namwanje, Bukedde Print.
Please speak to the microphone.
Sawya Namwanje, Bukedde Print. Mr. Byabakama nkubuuza ku disqualification kuyitiridde ko kukoma ddi tukusuubirayo ne after the election. Kisoboka omuntu okwesimbawo
kozesa akazindaalo nnyabo.
Ekyokubiri kisoboka omuntu process yonna ey'okwesimbawo n'atuuka okuba campaign ne bamugamba mbu omulalimu. Kisoboka omuntu okwesimbawo n'ayita mu process yonna emukakasa n'atuuka ne bamugamba mbu bamuwanduddemu olw'okuba mu registry taliimu. Kesi twagiraba Bukedya. Thank you.
Ongeso Godwin Mark from UBC. Justice and the rest of the Commission, protocol observed. So I want to thank you for the civic education levels that you've tried to do. They've really been good so far. But however, my main concern goes to the side of the marginalized groups. We have got the marginalized groups. I don't know, for example, the blind, the deaf, plus the PWDs. So a layman out there, deep down there, would wonder
if at all he or she is part of the marginalized groups, they would like to know to what level or to what extent has the civic education been done to them, surely. Thank you so much.
Just perhaps for correction, they are not called, we don't have a group called Mesmerized. There is no Mesmerized group. They are called special interest groups. I think that's what you wanted to say. Please, yes.
Good morning. I'm called Lubega Hamidwasa from PAL FM. Mr. Chairman, last time we were here and we were taught about the machines that we are going to use during the elections. And you told us that there is some people who are being...
Let us try to listen to the questions, please. Let's have one press briefing here. So the people behind there were making noise, please don't. Go ahead.
Anyway, my question, let me turn it to Luganda. Mr. Chairman, mbadde njagala okumanya ku muwendo omutuufu ogw'abantu abasomeseddwa akuuma kano akagenda okuba nga katuyambako mu kulonda, kubanga we twali wano twasembayo kubanga tuwulira nti muyina abantu bemusomesa. Sofa we tutuukidde akaseera kano mwakasomesa abantu bameka abagenda okuba nga bayambako mu police stations zonna ziri mu ggwanga. Neyanziza.
Good afternoon, Ssentebe Ssebo tweyanziza. Ekibuuzo kyange kiri ku nsonga ey'obukonge. Tulabye ku mikutu gimugatta abantu. Erinnya lyange Nzerwanga okuva ku Hope TV. Tulabyeko obukonge ku mikutu egya social media ng'omuntu omu alabikira mu bukonge bubiri. Ate ng'amannya ge gamu naye nga bulimu obuntu butono nnyo, features ezaawukana, naye ng'omuntu y'omu yennyini. Ensonga eyo mugyogerako ki oba mba nga mwagirabyeko?
Thank you. Lord Ssentebe ndowooza byebyo. Ebibuuzo biwaddeyo, Lord Chair. Mukyaliyo? Oh, okay. Okay. Bagenda ku mwaka ku bivulu. Mugenda kusaba kale.
Okay, wanyimirire bwali. Wamala. Oh, very good. Mwebale nnyo. Let me start with the last question. First of all, let me start with the question. Is it possible in life or in Uganda to have people with the same names? Is it possible? Is it possible for those people who have the same names to have the same date of birth? You also not agreed. It is possible. Possible to have the same names, even the same date of birth. But the facial features are different. The Kinkumu, is it possible to have the same people having the same thumbprint? And we are saying every voter is going to be biometrically identified using the thumbprint or the facial. We have looked at some of these things that have been posted. And you just look at people bearing the same names, same date of birth, that is all. The facial appearance is different. The polling location is different. We have seen it. So for us, we are saying, as far as the commission is concerned, the fundamental distinguishing mark of future will be the biometrics, the thumbprint, because we are told scientifically you cannot have two people sharing the so we want to assure the people of Uganda that the features, the biometric system we have introduced is going to address all those issues. Nobody will be allowed to vote more than once. And it is possible for people to share names and dates of birth, but you cannot share your fingerprints. That's what we are told scientifically. So that will be what will sort out who is Byabakama Mugenyi, born on this day, and Byabakama Mugenyi, born on this day. Are they two different Byabakama Mugenyis, or are they the same? So that will sort it out. And in the database of the National Voters Register, we have the thumbprint of every voter. If we don't have your thumbprint, if by mistake or by whatever, during your registration with the NIRA, if your thumbprint was not captured or it cannot read, at least your face should be there. Because you got a national ID. If you got a national ID, it means NIRA took your photograph, they stored your photograph in the National Information Register database. That's the one we utilized to register you as a voter if you are 18 years or above. So to me, that's not a challenge. That's not a challenge. Now, on the people who have been trained, we informed the country through the media here that one, we trained our personnel here at EC headquarters, those in the field who are going to be the managers of these processes. We recruited 1,053 citizens. Those citizens whom we have trained are going to train the 50,739 BVVK operators, then 50,739 presiding officers, so about 100,000 plus, who are going to be operating this BVVK kit at a polling station. So that training program is still ongoing. We first got the trainers whom we trained. These trainers now will train the operators who are going to be deployed at every polling station with a kit. So we are very, very alert and alive to the fact that for this kit to operate efficiently and optimally, the people going to operate the kit must be well trained and well equipped with know-how in order to render service that is required to operationalize this kit efficiently. Marginalized groups, where we know this is a challenge indeed, we work through the various groups in those areas where the persons with disabilities are located, and we form our field officers to have programs to reach out to them. You see, the issue of persons with disabilities, first of all, you must know where to find them, where to locate them. Secondly, you cannot invite them to one place or location in order to voter educate them, because some of them need to come with helpers and so on and so forth. And to do that, therefore, there's an expense that has to be incurred. But we make every effort to ensure every citizen who is an eligible voter is not left out on voter education, sensitization, and mobilization by the Commission. Now, I will talk generally about disqualifications. I think that has been raised by a number of people. First of all, we have noted the following. or we want you to note the following. The Electoral Commission is not the one which originates these petitions. It's not the Electoral Commission which originates or files these petitions. The petitions have originated by individuals, either voters in a particular area or candidates who have been nominated with the other person he or she is complaining against. And the law allows that. Thirdly, the law says that after nomination, any voter or individual or candidate has the liberty to scrutinize the papers of a nominated candidate. They have that liberty. And if the person observes certain anomalies in the nomination papers of this individual, then he or she has the right to petition the Electoral Commission, challenging the nomination of this individual, pointing out the anomalies, the alleged anomalies realized on that paper. People are saying, but you are the people who nominate these people. Then why should later on issues be found with their nomination papers? Granted. But if it were that the nomination is wholly and completely 100% normal or acceptable, then the law would not have provided for people to complain in the first place. The law would not have provided that you can still question the nomination of this individual. Secondly, we have our teams which carry out this verification process at the tally centers, at the nomination centers. They look at the signatures, they look at the names of supporters, and so on. They look at the papers. But I want you to appreciate, when you present your academic papers at the nomination center, the returning officer does not have ample time to cross-check whether the papers you have presented are authentic or not. The time is not there. Mind you, the law sets 2 days for nominations. And the numbers, I'm told this recent nomination process, the numbers were so high. Now, and therefore our people are running against time to complete the process. So it is very probable in that context, therefore, some of the issues that would have been observed or noted if there was ample time can go through or escape through. That's why the law says let other people come and look at these papers and see whether they were okay or whether there were issues. So for us, it's a normal process. And therefore, it should not be said, you are the people who nominated these people, and now you are the ones disqualifying them. Why? Otherwise, the law would have said, once the commission has accepted the nomination of an individual, therefore, that nomination cannot be questioned. No. But the law says, no, inspect the papers. If there are issues, you complain to the commission. The other thing I want you to note, there is raised vigilance. People have become more vigilant. Voters have become more vigilant. Candidates have become more vigilant in scrutinizing the papers of people who have been nominated. They have become more vigilant now. And that's why they have filed, how many petitions have we had so far? I think about over 400 or something, over 300, between 300 and 400. People are more vigilant now. And therefore, to me, that is okay because they are following the law in scrutinizing or inspecting the papers and pointing out any anomalies. Other than going to the media and then you attack somebody, Teyasoma, Teyakolaki, I've looked at his or her papers, I find he did not have A level, he did not have this, and so on and so forth. They are following the due process of challenging the nominations of these people. Fourthly, the commission, in entertaining these petitions, gives every person the right of hearing. We invite the petitioner, we invite the person complained against to come either with their lawyers or witnesses and whatever evidence they have to back up their claim or to support their nomination. We have been giving them a hearing. But there are those who don't turn up. We refuse even when we inform them. They don't show up. And even in the courts of law, there is a procedure. If it is proved that you were notified or served that you are required to appear in court on such a day for your case and you don't show up, and there is sufficient proof in that regard, the case can be had ex parte without your presence. And the court will decide the case on the basis of the evidence of the one party who has showed up. So even in this particular case, in the majority of cases, the parties were turning up. Even those, the respondents of those complained about, were turning up. And we are according everybody, or we do accord everybody a hearing, and we receive whatever evidence they have. It is only, and we allow them to make even submissions or arguments, closing arguments, either through their lawyers or by themselves. It is only after that that we take a decision. We are not going to close our eyes if we find there were illegalities in the nomination of an individual. If I may highlight some of them, the law says that your nomination paper must have the names of the necessary number of supporters with their villages indicated, NIN number or voter number, with their occupation indicated, and signature. But some of them were presenting papers without signatures. And the law has said if a nomination paper has not been signed in accordance with the law, then it is void, it's null and void. We are not going to close our eyes to that. Some of them were putting supporters of persons who are confirmed to have died. They put their names there. The relative of the dead person comes and says, this person died. Some of them, academic qualifications. Anyway, I don't want to go to the details and the reasons, but the whole point I'm making is that there is raised vigilance on the part of the voters to understand, to ascertain, to question the eligibility of a nominated candidate, and as a result, people are following the law, complaining against these nominations. The commission has been giving the parties a hearing. It is only after that we make a decision. I think that addresses the issue of disqualifications. Yes, the law does not put a cap or a stop or a timeline on when we should hear these petitions. Because the Constitution says one of our functions is to hear electoral-related complaints before and during polling. Even on polling day, one can file a complaint about the process, and the commission is required to entertain that complaint and take a decision. It is only after the polling has closed, the results have been declared, and so on, that the powers of the commission cease. But if there are any complaints regarding what transpired during polling day, then that matter goes to the courts of law for them to decide. That's why you have election petitions filed challenging the outcome of an election. I think I've answered that one. Now on the go home or stay matter or aspect. First of all, the commission works in line with the law. The commission is alive and aware of that provision of the law that says voters can stand 20 meters away from polling station. We have said, be that as it may, let us look at the practical realities. One, in 2020, we had some polling stations in 2021, sorry. We had some polling stations. I had thought I would come with the statistics here, but I look for my paper, I will get it and be able to share it with the members of the public. where some polling stations, the Electoral Commission was not able to declare or to announce the results. Why? Because the people who had gathered around the polling station started some altercation or some kavuyo. Either fight among themselves, or it was deliberately organized or orchestrated, and in the process of this altercation between themselves, they invaded the polling station, they grabbed the ballot box, they all destroyed the materials, and therefore there was nothing the Electoral Commission could either count or declare at that polling station. Secondly, in 2020, we also received reports in some polling stations. There were a number of people who were around and their conduct was intimidating. They were intimidating some voters whom they perceived to be voting for a particular candidate or party. We have that also. There's one of them, I talked to one of the Ugandans who told me, I think he was voting from a polling station in Luzira, that he was made to understand before going to the polling station. He said there is a group of very hostile youth, I don't want to mention the party they said, that man said they belong to, who are scaring voters. You come, they look at you with glazed eyes, you know, hostile eyes, and so on. So this man said, for me, I will die with some of them. He got a hammer and put it in his jacket, and then proceeded to the polling station. When they tried to intimidate them, he said, for me, you play with me. Before you finish me, I will have finished some of you. Now, we said, thirdly, we have also said, in some of these polling stations, especially in urban areas, the places are so squeezed. They are so small. That even the distances, if you look at the law prescribes the distance between the first table, the second table, and the third table. The law says the distance between the first table where the voters report and where the BVVK kit and the ballot papers are should be the next table where the polling takes place from where the basin is, should be 15 meters from that first table. Then from this second table where the basin is to the third table where the ballot box is, it should be 10 meters. Then from that one to where the person who is supposed to ink your thumb or whatever it is should be 10 meters. When you look at some of these polling stations, that distance is not even adequate to be strictly adhered to. Now, we say, if a polling station has 600 voters and they all turn up to vote, really, you tell them to hang around. Yes, the law says they can hang around 20 meters away. But even implementing that will be a very big challenge because of lack of space. So either people may crowd on the road, which is leading to the polling station, or they may find themselves positioned in such a way that they will not observe the 20 meters from this polling table. And we're saying that might it might. And another point we pointed out, or we wanted people to appreciate. You have 8 presidential candidates. Each one of them has 2 agents. You have 5 or 10 members of candidates for parliament. Each is entitled to 2 agents. Woman member of parliament, may about 4 or 5. In this sense, you have at one polling station in total about, on average, 15 candidates. Those are already 30 agents. Ladies and gentlemen, already there is a crowd at the polling station. And those are allowed inside the polling station, the agents. The people who are pushing for the people to remain around are saying that you have to remain around to protect our vote, to safeguard our vote. That is the reason they are pushing that keep around so that you protect or safeguard your vote. But we are saying, if your concern is protection of the vote or safeguarding the vote, then there are already people who are authorized in law to do that. And these are the agents of the candidates. And those are the agents who are already allowed inside the polling station right from the hour the polling station opens until counting, until close of the polling station. You have 30 agents. Those are more than enough protectors. Then you have observers. You have accredited observers and accredited agents about political parties. You already have enough. Then we also said, look at it this way. You have people supporting different candidates. It's a high-octane election. The stakes are so high. Every voter believes in the strength of his or her candidate. You are telling these people to be in one place from morning until evening. How are you going to maintain order among these people? How will you prevent arguments and disagreements breaking out among them? How will you prevent them from exchanging blows or becoming violent? As one seeks to say, we have won you, we have defeated you, we are winning here, and an argument. Before you know it, there's a terrible argument, physical fight, and then the materials or the polling station is disrupted. So that's why for us as a commission, we are saying that it would be appropriate if people first went home so that you will leave room for those who have not yet voted to come and vote. Then when the time for counting comes, you can come and stand at the 20 meters and be able to observe how the counting is taking place. But to keep people who subscribe to different political parties, who support different candidates in one place for so many hours, and you tell me that they are going to be civil, they are going to be calm, like we are in a church setting where they say sit down, then you sit. Let us sing this hymn, then you sing. Let us pray, you all pray. Who is going to have that kind of order implemented? So that's why we are saying the commission should not be misunderstood. Let me repeat. The commission should not be misunderstood. When we advise people to first go home, we are saying we want a peaceful election. We want to give an opportunity to every voter to turn up and vote. Can we live a free environment? Can we create a free atmosphere around the polling station that will allow every voter to feel at liberty to come? Because some of them are easily put off, like the elderly, like the women, and so on. They are easily put off by the hostile, charged environment at the polling station. We have noticed that. So please, that's why we are saying, if we are interested in a free and fair election, if we are interested in a process that is peaceful, and if we are trying to avoid, eliminate, or to prevent the possible disruptions that may arise because of so many people who support different candidates being gathered together. You don't even know what some of them are drinking. You see people coming with the plastic bottles. You don't know what stuff they have put there. We are saying, please, let us not cause unnecessary disruption. The law permits you, but be mindful of the current environment and what is likely to unfold if we are not very cognizant of the issues that we have to address. Okay, now, this is very important. Listen to this. Someone asked, I think it was my brother Muhirwe from NTV. You are talking of the National Voters Register. You are talking of BVVK. You are talking of National ID. Then VLS. This is all confusing Ugandans. Which is which? Ladies and gentlemen, the law says for you to be a voter, you must be a registered voter, you must be on the National Voters Register. So the foundation of the exercise of one's constitutional right to vote is in the National your presence on the National Voters Register. Are you a registered voter? Yes. Are you in the National Voters Register? Yes. Are you assigned a polling station? Yes. Now, this foundation gives rise to certain offshoots. One of them is the BVVK. That is an offshoot from the National Voters Register. Whoever is not on the National Voters Register will not be on the BVVK. If your particulars are not on the National Voters Register, they will not be found on the BVVK. That's a starting point. Secondly, if your particulars are not on the National Voters Register, when we are printing the voter allocation slips, you won't get a voter allocation slip because the voter allocation slip is derived from the data on the National Voters Register. Thirdly, the national ID is not issued by EC, it's issued by NIRA. It is issued to persons who are confirmed citizens of Uganda. And if that citizen at the time of registration was 18 years or above, then he or she indicated where that he's a willing or he or she is a willing voter. The particulars of that voter will be captured on the National Voters Register because the law permits us to do that. So when you come with your national ID, which has that barcode, we shall swipe it using this kit, and then you are confirmed that yes, you are a voter on the National Voters Register. But even then, the starting point is that you must be on the National Voters Register. So the National Voters Register is the foundation, and all these are just offshoots. So there's no confusion. I just wanted to make that. But these other things were introduced, like the VLOS, as I said, to expedite the process of identifying and confirming the voter. But if you come, you do not get the VLOS, or you have lost your national ID, you will not be chased away. And as I said, the important thing is to say, I am Biabakama Mugenyi. This is why I voted from in 2021. Then the presiding officer will get the register, check for your name, if you are there on the register, again the register, and if they confirm your name is in the register, then they will take you through the process of the BVVK, as I explained. It has been in the rules, in the regulations here. The voter that VLOS or national ID, this is what is going to happen. So the crux, the basic record for you to be allowed to vote is the National Voters Register. So those who have VLOS, come. You have a national ID, come. You don't have any of those, come. But do you know that this is where are you a registered voter? And do you confirm that you are voting from this polling station? We shall check in the register. If you are not there, they will not be checked. But we have also said we are going to introduce a barcode in the National Voters Register against the name of every voter, so that if you say I'm Okelo James, they get the kit, swipe against the barcode against your name in the register, then your features will come up, then you are confirmed. I think I've answered the issue. Yeah, the VLOS is being issued from RDC's office. I wish you could take me which district, tell us which district is that. Then we shall call our returning officer, because we have issued clear guidelines on how and who should distribute those VLOSs. It's not RDC, but our parish supervisors. They are the ones who are supposed to have those VLOSs, move with the register, with the book where the recipient of the VLOS is supposed to sign or thumbprint, confirming that I have received my VLOS. But if you tell us the district where you saw this taking place, please inform us. We shall call our returning officer to have that corrected. And we are going to tell them also, maybe to pass on more information to the public, informing them where they should get their voter location slips. Now, on the issue of people using the national flag, I must confess as a commissioner I have not addressed myself to that because I have not received any formal complaint or petition regarding the issue of people using that. But I see people using the national flag when they are going for football matches, I see them doing all those things, you putting on national flag and so on. I will have to look at the law critically and see what it says. But what I know, the law, I think, prohibits you if you are registering a political party. You are not, if you are registering a political party, I think you are not supposed to use the national flag or the logo as part of your party paraphernalia or identity features. But on usability, day-to-day use, I think that one we have to study carefully and advise the country accordingly. Sunrise News, he said, from what I can see, there might be a plot by some either presiding officers not to scan a ballot paper of Dr. Simba when he comes. They give it to him without scanning it. He goes and votes, puts it in. When it comes to counting, the machine will reject it. It was not scanned first time. How did it get into the box? That's the question. One, well, human beings are human beings. We don't expect this to happen. But secondly, now let me emphasize the importance of agents. That is the role, that's the work of agents. The agents are supposed to make sure that every ballot paper that has been issued has been scanned by the operator or presiding officer. That is their work. We offer to train these agents for candidates freely when we are training our polling officials. So the agents should be on the lookout. The candidates should warn or should urge their agents to be on the lookout such that every ballot paper is scanned. If I know this is my polling station, it is in my sub-county, and my sub-county is my stronghold. I expect to win this polling station by more than 90%. I think it will be incumbent on me to warn my agent, please make sure that every ballot paper is scanned. And you know what the law says? The law, these agents are very special people, by the way. Because even the law says the agents should sit in such a manner that they are able to observe what is taking place at the first table. They don't say agents sit 20 meters away, as these people are told, wait, stand 20 meters away. Yeah. Well, your role is not very pertinent. But agents should sit in such a manner that they are able to observe what is taking place at the first table where the BBVK machine is and where the ballot papers are being issued from. They should sit. They don't subscribe. The law does not subscribe the distance at which agents should sit. They should sit. If they have to sit 1 meter away from that table, because that's how they can easily, properly observe what is going on, so be it. So that's why we say all these concerns of people. Nti bwe munavaawo bagenda kubba obululu. Bwe munavaawo kigenda kubeera kiti. Nedda abakuumi we bali already. Ate bakkirizibwa mu mateeka. Ate balina okutuula mu ngeri n'ebasobosesa okulabira ddala kiki ekigenda omu maaso ku mmeeza owali akuuma ku mmeeza wali obululu. Bwe bakyetaagisa batuule half meter okuva ku mmeeza eyo bwe balina okutuula basobole okulaba bulungi. Saabo bakuumi bammwe bassebo bannyabo be bakuumi bammwe b'obululu be balina okumanya nti byabakama obwazze ddala ekinkumu kye akuuma kakikkiriza oba kamugaanye. Akalulu kabamuwadde basoose okakakasa n'akuuma oba nedda. Agenti ba agents bali 300 bali 20 oba bammeka. In fact bangambye ebitundu bimi bayinza n'okubeera n'enkaaga kubanga waliwo bakandidates bali 20 ba palamenti gattako ba pulezidenti oyinza kwesanga ba agents bali nkaaga. Abo tebamala bassebo bannyabo. Nolwekyo, and therefore that one will not happen, but the agents should be on the lookout to make sure the ballots which the votes which candidate X who is strong in that area would have got and might be played around with, does not happen using that machine. Yes. Yes, secondly, when we have scanned those ballots, then we also ascertain how many have not been utilized. All that is provided for in the law. Bulumeko butakozeseddwa mu kifo kino mu polling station eno busigadde bumeka. Presiding officer ayina kola kituyita accountability. Y'obululu bukoze obubabaze nga butuufu, obululu bubabaze nga bufu. Even invalid ballots or votes are supposed to be accounted for. How do you want the process to be transparent, Banang? How? Because for me, I think the Ugandan electoral laws have ingrained in transparency, ensuring transparency. Transparency is upheld, observed at every level of the electoral processes. Okay. I didn't get this one. I'm looking for transfer promotion. All I can say, law enforcement agencies are supposed to ensure law and order are maintained or observed or upheld, period. And if there is anyone who acts in breach of the law, be it an ordinary individual or a law enforcement officer, the law should catch up with those individuals themselves. Nobody is above the law. The issue of a candidate sitting on the road, I have not seen this one. Secondly, can you listen, when a candidate is said to have acted outside the law, people are at liberty to petition the commission. People are at liberty to petition the commission saying this candidate has been acting like this, like this, like this. If any candidate, because for us, all candidates are the same. And the guidelines we issue concern or affect all of them without any discrimination, without any favor. So if any particular candidate goes on the road, in the middle of the road, and sits and says, I'm doing this because I'm a candidate, he's outside the law, and therefore people, whoever has observed that, raise it with the commission, and we shall take it up. How much money have we got? I cannot tell you the exact figure of money government has given us, but all I can say, so far, they have given us the required funds to run the activities that we are doing, that we have done, and the activities that we are yet to conduct. Government has given us those funds. Who is eligible voter? I think I've explained this. Anyone who is on the voters register is eligible, provided you're on the voters. And let me emphasize, I've been saying this. If you got a national ID, you are registered with NERA, but you do not express willingness to vote, you do not indicate that I will be voting from this polling station in the parish where I come from or where I reside, you will not be on the national voters register. So if you come on polling day to a polling station with your national ID, bearing the village where the polling station is based, you will be subjected to the same process. BVVK, what not. If you are found not to be on the voters register, though you have a national ID and you are 25 or 30 years old, you will not vote. However, if you don't have a national ID and you're on the national voters register, you will vote because you're on the national voters register. So that is the fundamental, I think, difference. Then as I conclude, voter education, yes, voter education. You know, we assess the methods of voter education we use at every given election and the impact it has created. And realized it is not enough merely a track to run through from here to Masaka, then to Mbarara, then back to Kampala, and they have done voter education. Voter education should be more impactful, more insightful. So that's why I'm not seeing those rigs this time. We said, let's take a different approach. Let us use more of the media. Let us use more of these, gatherings where our people go and address the people and vote educate them and take questions, which we found was not happening when these rigs were just running through. Stopping at trading center and not going to the villages, and so on. So we said, no, can we adopt a different methodology? So with the few remaining days, we are going to urge our people officers to increase on voter education and make sure that we reach as many people as possible. Now, on the section of the Electoral Commission Act that talks of May, is it 12? Yes, you are right. Subsection 2 of 12. May adopt technology in the management of, and we have done that. We have adopted technology in our elections by introducing one, the biometric voter verification system, and secondly, by introducing the ERTDS, electronic results transfer system. These rules or regulations which the minister signed the other day are specifically tailored on the use of the kit, the BBVK only. And because of what the BBVK, the reasons behind the introduction of BBVK, because of the reasons behind the introduction of BBVK, to avoid ballot stuffing, to avoid multiple voting, to avoid miscounting and so on and so forth. That's why in the instrument it has been mentioned that in order to give full meaning and purpose to the introduction of BBVK, these procedures shall be followed or abided by. There is no contradiction, therefore, between the main act and this statutory instrument. It's not there. It's not there. I don't see it. The other one says you may adopt technology. Okay? We have adopted technology. Not wholly. Remember, technology is vast. For example, there's electronic voting. We have not introduced electronic voting. But we are saying for the technology we have introduced so far, and given the major purpose of having this kit at a polling station and what is intended to address, let it be explicitly and holistically used in using and following the same processes. That's why we are saying this shall be followed. So there is no contradiction between the main act and the regulations, in my view, in that context. Because now it is not left to the presiding officer to say, oh no, his Kinkumu or her Kinkumu cannot read for 2 times. Give him a ballot paper. He goes, no, you shall. If the Kinkumu cannot read, then you shall do this. If this one cannot happen, then you shall do this. That's why the word shall has been introduced here. It does not contradict the main. Because if this word shall was in the main act, then it will mean you bring in electronic voting, you bring in everything, then it will mean even you abolish the register, you use everything is electronic, everything is digital. No, that's why we said we may use whatever we think this can work for us. Technology can work for us here. Yes, we can introduce technology in that regard. Okay. Hypothetically speaking, if the machine fails to work, what measures? We are mindful of the possibility of one kit not functioning. So that's why we said every polling station will have 2 kits to avoid the disaster or the challenges of the one kit not be or ceasing to operate or having operational malfunctions. So 2 kits. In the case the second kit, in an unlikely event of the second kit also not working, we shall have our teams of IT. We shall have our IT teams on standby to be called in to go and rectify these kits so that polling voting starts. But one of the things we were very, very cautious of is the duration of the battery. Duration of the battery. And the manufacturer was given strict instructions. That battery should last how many hours, Peter? 18 hours. Now polling lasts about 9 hours, 9 to 10 hours. This battery is supposed to last 18 hours per kit. And secondly, each kit has a power bank. So really, the issue of power is not a challenge. The issue of malfunctioning, standby kit. If the standby also has a problem, our standby technical people will be on hand to address it. Voter education, I think I've answered the issue of voter education. Whether I think this is the most challenging election, let me tell you, every election has its peculiar challenges. In 2021, because you asked me the elections I've organized, 2021 elections which my colleagues, some of my colleagues and I organized, had COVID. They were in the midst of the COVID epidemic. That was very challenging. So this one, by the way, the elections of 2026, the major challenge is on the bad manners of candidates of some people. That's true. The major challenge the commission faces in these elections is the bad manners of some people, period. Bad manners. But if everybody was well-behaved, good-mannered, law-abiding, and following what we are saying, there would be no problem at all. Bad manners. That's the biggest challenge. Kyekyo empisa embi kyekizibu ekisinga yo challenge kyekisomooza ekisingirayo ddala mu teekateeka yaffe yebyokulonda. So but I want to say every election has its own peculiar challenges, and njagala kiddamu kakati abantu what do you call it, to sharpen the eye, Hajat? Balabi nnyo kati ku byokulonda. Abantu baagala kutegeera ddala gundi mwami Mugerwa yeesimbyewo ayina ebisaanyizo oba byakimpatiira. Batunula kati munange weegendereze, era kati ndowooza 23 abagenda kwesimba agenda kwegendereza. Tomala galeeta olupapula signature teziriiwo naye n'oleeta n'oteekayo nga nti naruli byayitamu bwe bityo. Nedda ssebo kati abantu balaba nno eriiso litoola ngaweke weegendereze n'oleeta olupapula, empapula z'obuyigirize naawe okimanyi mulimu naye olupapula luno kiringa olina emmotoka shoka buzobu tule mu kinya pupu kasite tambula naye shoka buzobu zino kirabika zeetaaga replacement. Empapula zo zeetaaga ku replacement lwaki tozireplace nga tunagenda kukususulwamu. Abantu kati balaba nnyo munnange. How many have we discussed? By the way, now this, I'm coming to the critical thing. That according to what is happening, you seem to be targeting candidates. We don't target any candidate because he or she belongs to this party or not. Please. Our decisions are purely based on evidence presented before us and the law governing whatever electoral activity is being challenged. I repeat, ensalawo yaffe tetuteeka liiso kubanga gundi bwe kibiina bwe kiti oba bwe kiti. Tusinziira ku bujulizi obuleeteddwa, amateeka kye gagamba, kyekyokka kye tulaba. Oyinza okwesanga ate n'ekyokubiri, waliwo bagamba nti waliwo ab'ebibiina ebivuganya betugamba nti kuno eno petition temuli asigaleyo abeereyo. Tubayina mwagala tubawo bwinoyo yonna kale olujja tugenda balaga nti twafuna petition bweti ono yali flaga bearer nga baagala bamuggyemu ne tugaana, ne tufuna petition bweti ne tugaana. Juzi baali baagala tuggyemu bagundi bano nakawaki division west baawa ne tugamba nti nedda. basigaleyo tulinze kooti oba nekiriziganya naffe tetumanyi. Ate nekyokubiri, etteeka ligamba nti kakiiko bwe kamala kuwa ensala oli n'atamatira yeyongereyo mu kooti. That's what the rule of law is all about. That's what fairness is all about. That's what justice is all about. That your door is not shut by the commission. You can go to the courts of law. Weyongereyo mu kooti. Tuli kooti yakasalako gumugoka. Naye omanyi kyewuunya. Banange batuvuma ne sekuvumirira. Kooti bwe yasala saddayo kuwulira muntu yenna ng'alina kyagamba. Anyway, ensi bwetyo bwebeera. We accept that. So anyway, it's not true we are targeting any particular political party, no. As I said, we don't generate these petitions. Everyone is given a hearing, and the decision is based on the law and the evidence as we interpret it. I think ebibuuzo biweddeyo basebo ne bannyabo mwebale nnyo kumpuliriza mbaagaliza omwaka omupya ogw'emirembe. Mbasaba nga bwe mugenda mu bivulo temulya nnyo temunywa nnyo ate ne mwerabira n'olunaku lw'enkya tubeetaaga musigale muli balamu. Mukama bakuume. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Lord Chair, and we thank you, members of the press, for working with us, for working with the Commission from day one when the roadmap was first announced and then revised, and at all times of the key milestones of the roadmap. And we look forward to continuing these engagements, and the doors of the Commission and the doors of the Department of Public Relations remain open any day, any time, 24 hours, team no sleep, to respond to any issues that you may have. Now,